close, like it's true. Like he's not the person I've been talking to for the past year or year and a half, however long it was. So it sucked. Like that was kind of like my first real heartbreak, but it wasn't. My first real heartbreak is the person I'm married to. So, so that's what it is.
So you met the one at an early age.
Yes, I did. I was 15.
Lucky you.
In school.
Damn, 15.
I was 15 years old. I'm 25 now, so that was 10 years ago.
I'm 7.
And we actually make 10 years meeting, like knowing each other this like next month in a few days. So in high school, I was a sophomore. He was a senior. I had a friend, Julian. I don't care to say his name because, whatever. But he introduced me to Jonathan because you know how in high school you have electives? Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you guys in school, but like you're mixed with grades. It's not just... Yeah. Okay. So I got switched into art because I originally was put into like advanced pottery. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I can't be in this class. So they switched me to art, like art 1. And I walked into that class and I knew my cousin was in that class. Like I was okay with it because I had friends there. And Julian was one of those friends. And then he walked in there and like I had seen Jonathan and I was like, okay, he's kind of cute. But then Julian introduced me to him. He was like, oh, like come here. Let me introduce you to my friend. And you know what the craziest story or the craziest part of this whole story is? I had seen him the year before. I had seen him. But I thought he was the ugliest person I've ever seen in my life. So
did you have a glow up?
He grew up in like a matter of a summer because I had seen him when I was a freshman. I was in the cafeteria with my friend and it was in the morning. He was there with his little posse and I obviously didn't know who he was, but he had grills. He had like this 4XL t-shirt with his 2 wooden like crosses and his hair was just long. Like, well, his hair wasn't long, but it was just different. Like he just didn't look well kept.
Like a little Chico?
He looked, like that. Like he just didn't look cute to me, and he was really skinny, like really, really skinny. Super skinny. I'm emphasizing that. So then come sophomore year, when I saw him, I saw his face when Julie introduced me to him. I was like, I know you. So I was like, I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, I think this is the same person I saw last year, but he looks fine as shit now. So we met, and at the weekend, Jonathan being the way he was like, oh, I'm going to Horror Nights this weekend in Orlando. He's like, if you want to come. Like, I just freaking met you. Like, no, I'm not going to Orlando with you.
That boy shot real quick.
Hey, man. You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, I was like, damn. But
you saw the future.
So,
damn, butterfly effect.
It was just weird.
That's the butterfly effect.
Like, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't know who you are. I'm like, my parents are not going to let me go to Orlando. But I told them I didn't want to say my parents are going to say no. So, like, I was like, nah, I already have plans. Like, I'm going to Fright Nights, the one that we have here. So I was going to go for real that weekend with my friend. I was like, well, have fun in, Orlando. I'm going to be in West Palm at the Fright Nights. If you decide to change your mind, you want to go to that one instead. He didn't ask for my number. Like, we didn't exchange information. Nothing. But that night, her and I, my best friend and I went to Fright Nights. And we were on a ride. And then we got off that ride. And it's one of those things. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not trying to friggin' paint a pretty picture. But her and I got off the ride. And, like, the crowd was right there. And it was like, he was, like, far away. But I look out into the crowd, and it's like one of those things where it's like I saw him, and then he saw me, and we made eye contact, like and then like, it was literally like one of those things. I was like, "What the hell?"
That's a scene of a high school movie, man.
Yeah, literally, like it was just true love.
It was just. So
and it was at an amusement park.
They
even jumping it off.
They lock eyes and like it's everything slow motion. You see them in the background.
Everything just. I was like, and I told Daniela, I was like, "What do I do?" Like I was so nervous.
Yeah, that must be nice living off a movie, man.
Nah, but it got ugly after that.
I mean, that happens to all the movies, so. Hopefully, I got a happy ending, didn't it?
I mean, yeah, we're good now. It was just.
No, that's for the sequel. After the happy ending and sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. Like, I saw him in the crowd. We made eye contact, and then like he just stopped with his friend, and he waited for me to get out with my friend. We met up with them that night. And, we just spent the rest of the night with them. Like, she was with his friend and I was with him. And then that night, he finally asked me my number. And he met Mom that night, like my mom. Because my mom got there to pick us up. Like, he walked me to the car. And I was like, who's that? Because he had tattoos and, like, it was just the first guy that I've been around that looked like that. So that rest is history. It's just, that was how we met. And ever since that day, like, the story started officially.
That's crazy.
That's a chapter in your life.
So you saw this one guy in art school. You didn't even have no idea they were gonna be married to him.
And now.
That's so crazy.
That is crazy to think about. Like,
yeah, if you would have told me 10 years ago we'd end up married, I said,
and it even went from you thinking he was unattractive.
Who the fuck is
yeah.
that?
I literally thought he was disgusting. Like, he was so ugly. And it's funny because him and I laugh about it now. And he's like, yeah, well, look like where you're at now. Like, who got you in the end? I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because he was so ugly. Like, I was like, oh my God. He just looked like your typical, like, you know, dirty looking kid that just didn't care. He was just from the streets, and that's just what it was. Like, he looked like a criminal. Like, to me, I'm not into that. I like fuckboys, but I don't like criminals now.
Now. Besides now.
Yeah. I've always had a thing for guys that look bad. Like, I like those bad looking guys. I don't like guys that look friendly. Like, I don't, you know, and that's the thing. Like, people look at me and they're like, you're so innocent. Like, to this day, people are like, I don't know how the hell, like, because Jonathan looks very douchey. When you first meet him, if you don't know him, he
looks like a fucking bodyguard at a club or some shit.
Yes, you know, the
jumper,
The bouncer.
The bouncers. The bouncers. Yeah.
Jumper.
That's literally how he looks. Like, he's not one to walk around like smiling. Like, he's just.
I'll be honest. The first time I met Jonathan, I was scared of him.
A lot of people get, you know, that vibe from him that it's like they don't know like how he's gonna react, that type of thing, because he comes off as like very just quiet, like mysterious, like.
Because like I was still young and
you were really young.
I mean, I played volleyball with him at the pool. It was like,
That's what y'all first met.
That's how they met.
I was like, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
he's chill as fuck. Like he
is. Cool. Yeah, he's not cool. He's just Jonathan. Like, he's one of those people that's either you like him or you don't. Like, there's no in between.
She pour her heart away. I just remind her for myself. Said she is scholar crazy, but I bet she like them double C. But you ain't proud of baby. I make sure that you